Continuing. So yeah, this school shooting in Florida. This is freaking horrible, man. Just freaking horrible, and it just tears my guts out to see this going on in the world. And still all these people want to move to America. It's like, what the hell's going on here? We've got to fix our problems. And this guy was probably humiliated. I mean, his dad died, and then his mom dies. He's 19 years old, working at the dollar store, saves up enough money to go buy a gun, and they're more than happy to sell him one. And they do their background check, what's required by law. Presumably, they did that. But the only way to prevent this, I mean, Andrew Comio was talking in depth about how he thinks it could be for. He's got ideas about locking the school up. I don't know how much that can work. I mean, you keep putting them in more and more of a jail situation. Because when I went to school, the campus was very loose. I mean, you could be anywhere on the campus anytime. It was a very nice campus. I went to high school in Santa Cruz. But, I don't think it should be like a prison at all. But a security guard, maybe, I mean, that wouldn't hurt, I guess. Not, I don't know, that might be a little intimidating for the students, but you know what? I mean, how about, a cop that at least, he was there. So, I mean, as soon as anything happened, immediately, not 60 seconds later, like whatever it takes the cops to get there, but immediately, okay, could come into action. Or you could arm the teachers too. I mean, I have no problem with any teachers that want to be armed. Absolutely. But, the students, I don't know, arming all the students as an answer. But mainly we just got to fix society and make it a kinder, gentler, safer society for everybody by not being such hard asses. I mean, what do you think? God likes that? We call ourselves a Christian nation, and look at what the direction we're going. How do people justify this? Because it's working for me. I'm still a majority of I'm a homeowner, and, I want my house to go up in value. Don't tell me that's bad, but you won't look at it the other point of view, will you? As cost to somebody else, will you? No. You just want to play that game. You're teamed up with the banksters that have put us in debt and all these highfalutin politicians that have just validated and legitimized the theft of the wealth of our nation right under our noses with that bailout of '08. Okay, you're saying no, but get over that. Even though 90% of the American people are opposed to it, should not have happened. We should have seen a dramatic market correction in housing at that point, because we all know the banksters had totally woefully overextended themselves. They got green lighted by the reversal of the Glass-Steagall Act when Bill Clinton failed to reenact it. So you understand how this works? I've been in effect for almost 100 years or something. It was a huge favor to the banksters. So you wonder how Bill Clinton got off the Whitewater scandal. I mean, that could play into it. Banksters in positions of power can probably do wonderful things. Okay, that border on miraculous. Oh, wow, you can make these problems go away. Oh, enough money can make a lot of things go away. We know some attorneys, and, they'll file the right papers with the right authorities. Wink, wink, black hats, corrupted officials in the government. I mean, how else does this stuff happen? As FBI, they'd been warned. Did you see that bail bondsman? The mainstream media is not focusing much. One little blurb about that guy is all I saw in mainstream media. The guy was out there. He was a bail bondsman. I forgot where he's from. Might even be from California. But somebody commented on one of his YouTube videos about pulling one of these stunts, school smash, and it was that guy. Okay, and the FBI never even checked the guy out. Can you imagine that? I mean, that's reported. And then they say, if you see something, say something. It's like, well, that's exactly what happened in this case. Everybody said something, and nobody did anything. Okay, the guy should not have been allowed to have a gun. He should have been in a registry that said, no, this guy's mentally unstable. Okay, if the first sign that there's a problem, I mean, getting expelled from school, it takes quite a bit probably. I mean, I don't know. I don't know too many kids that were ever expelled from high school. But you got to do something. I mean, this guy is, society is picking on him, not even aware of it. We're just thinking, oh, poor kid, sort of thing. Well, that's tough row to hoe for you, buddy. But, we get into our own little cliques and, busy with our own stuff. And, we don't ever think, we're not sensitive enough to What are the concerns and needs of your fellow human being? And really be ready to deal with it. Okay, we got to help each other. We've got to be kinder, safe, gentler to each other. We've got to care about each other. That is being loving toward each other. This is what God calls us to do. And if we fail to do it, then we've failed. We've missed the mark, man. I mean, I'm not saying you're going to hell. All I'm saying is that we all answer to God, okay, for what we believe and what we fail to believe, and this is a big deal. But God is a forgiving God, but we've got to admit it. You see, that's the thing. We've got to confess it. I know when I was a younger man, I had a very difficult time taking criticism. That's how younger men are. I mean, we're obstinate, we're headstrong, we got ego and pride, and we're not going to let you tell. I know right from I know. Don't tell me. I know what I want. You understand? And that's a big problem, and it follows people into adulthood and way into, upper adulthood, and they hang on to erroneous beliefs because they can't take correction. They can't take constructive criticism as a positive and thank people that do that for you, even if maybe they came off a bit recklessly and carelessly when they scolded you. So what? I mean, everybody has to forgive. We have, but sometimes people see stuff in us that we don't see in ourselves, but and we don't want to really. That's not, we don't face that fact. We don't say, well, that's why I'm not looking at this because I'm afraid to. We don't admit it at the time because it's too hard, but we put up a wall of defense and the pride, the false pride, and all that crap. And so we don't hear it. But later in life, you find out, you know what? I'm so glad that finally, at least, my own thinking kicked in and said, I don't want to be that person. And I don't have to be that person. I want to grow. I want to be a nicer human being. I want to be a better person. I want to have more empathy. I want to have more compassion and mercy and be kinder and nicer to people, more loving to people, more likable kind of human being. That's who I want to be. I mean, that's who we should all want to be. As far as I'm concerned. Oh, last week, I was talking, I misspoke, and I was referring to the great economist. I said Adam Schiff. I was thinking of Peter Schiff. But Peter Schiff had been on the show, and he's trying to talk some sense into Alex about this bubble stuff. I know that Peter Schiff and Max Kaiser had a falling out, I think, over Bitcoin. But I like Peter Schiff, and he's right. I mean, he's a guy that understands stability. I mean, an honest economist is a good American, is an egalitarian, understands what supply and demand capitalism is, and it knows how to define progress relative to that. Okay, that's all. And I admire economists like that are willing to admit the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth about this business of capitalism. Gerald Celente, your Harry Dents out there. There's a whole host of people that are out there that are good guys, that aren't a-holes, that care about everybody, not just some people. And I think Peter Schiff is one of those. That's how capitalism is. It's supposed to work for everybody. Yeah, last week I don't know how clear I was about this Phil Mudd character. Something's wrong here with this guy. Because what he said, it sounded like I said they're going to kill him. No, that's what Phil Mudd was saying to the reporter. He was talking about the president. He believed, oh my gosh, they're going to kill him now. They're in reference to President Trump. I mean, could you imagine a former CIA, a high-level CIA and FBI guy, and coming out in front of the whole world and making a statement like that? I mean, what exactly? I hope he was interviewed, for God's sake. These black hats need to be weeded out of the White House and the law and the judicial system. I mean, everywhere. God, we got to get rid of these bad actors, okay, and let the people be free, man. We need sound policies in this country, and we've had anything but my whole entire life, and that is not okay. That's not progress. Yeah, we all far too often when we are identified with left, right, or something, we become far too sanctimonious off the bat. Oh my God, you're a leftist. Oh my God, you're right wing. Oh, you're such a loser. You know, you're so stupid. Oh, how could you be such an idiot? Right? Isn't that what both sides think? I hear it. I hear the rhetoric. It's like, God Almighty, help us. I mean, I'm sick to my stomach with this stuff. The reason I started watching the Alex Jones show on InfoWars is because his motto was to shatter the left right paradigm. That's what the whole show, to me, that was the hook. Okay, if he just, was reaching people and was being effective by, just shattering that idea that this is invented. They're dividing us on purpose. When you fundamentally understand that, okay, it seems like that's at least a first step to getting it together and saying, well, let's stop it then. Let's get that and understand that, hey, we agree. Let's talk this thing through. And what is the end game? What is the objective here in this capitalism? Let's talk about, but don't just expect people to accept crony capitalism and you say that's all good and fine and everything, and it's quite the contrary. So you wonder what creates all the socialist thinking and all this is because of this mutant, this adulterated form of capitalism, which is not capitalism in any true form of the word, crony capitalism, okay, which has the opposite effect of true capitalism, okay. It causes a wealth disparity, okay, where true capitalism causes more wealth equality, not through taking from others, but it happens naturally by universal prosperity, okay, that's what happens. That's exactly what you want. So I can totally understand. I mean, anybody thinking person that's honest, okay, should be able to admit that this thing hasn't happened in a vacuum. People don't turn socialist, okay, because they don't believe something. They believe something. They do. They believe that capitalism reeks. They don't understand it, and it might be your duty to explain it to them, the difference between crony capitalism and true capitalism, by explaining the effect of true capitalism on the society as a whole. And this rising tide that lifts all ships doesn't leave any of the ships being submerged. Okay. Locally here in the town of Anderson, it's about probably 50 miles north or something like that. An elderly woman accompanied by her husband took 3 pot shots at neighboring kids for being noisy. She pulled out. Can you imagine that? Accompanied by her husband, they went and she shot a few times. Didn't hit any of the kids from what I heard, but pretty maniacal. I mean, how much your kids have to be bugging you? You know, how much yelling did she do before that, calling the cops or whatever before she pulled out her gun? It's really stupid. But people are mentally ill. I think they're getting too much aluminum in their system. I recently watched a movie which I would highly recommend to everybody. Okay, and the name of the movie is Age of Aluminum, and it's traumatic. It's traumatic, man. Just learning about how this aluminum is made, the effect on people, the health effects on people's brains, and other tumors, cancers, and crap that's going on in their bodies. I mean, it's messed up. I mean, if anybody out there values your brain, look into this aluminum thing. You're not supposed to inject any aluminum. They're putting it in vaccines and crap. The spray on deodorants can have it. I mean, it gets into your blood, gets into your body, and it's not supposed to. Bad stuff, but I would definitely highly recommend that. But I mean, how do you explain this stuff? Maybe these chemtrails are spraying. I understand they contain aluminum. In a local story, some dude broke 13 windshields. And you wonder, yeah, that happened actually also in little town of Anderson, California. And I mean, Cui Bono, why would anybody just maliciously go break 30 people? They might be breaking their own family members' windshield and not even know it. Why would anybody be that hateful and malicious if there was no financial incentive? And we've all heard those stories. The kid with a BB gun goes breaks out windows because his dad runs a glass shop. Their parents have been fighting about finances, so he's got to do something to help business, right? I mean, this is the sick thinking. Our entire society is imbued, okay? It is marinated in this kind of madness. And so many jobs would disappear if we just started solving one problem. And that one problem is desperate, extreme poverty. That's it. That's all we have to solve. And the crime starts going down, the national debt starts going down, the problems, the dubious war starts going away, the social welfare system starts dissipating, and nobody has to worry about job insecurity. Okay, nobody should have to. Okay, when God's will is established on earth, think of how it's going to be. That's where you got to get your mind, in line with. You got to get your thinking on track with how it's going to be someday when people are free, and money is a non-issue. Period.